Hey there, good morning and happy Tuesday. Thank you so much for making the time to watch this replay. All month long, I have been talking about Facebook Live, what to do before your Facebook Live so that you are prepared and feel more confident. Last week, I talked about all the things to think about while you are on your Facebook Live. And when you're all done and you press the end button, you're finished, right? Wrong. Today, I want to talk about what to do after your Facebook Live. I actually see a lot of people missing out on some really great opportunities by not fully taking advantage of getting the most out of their Facebook Live. And that happens after you're done broadcasting. Now, for those of you who don't know me or don't know me well, my name is Karie Price. I'm a brand messaging coach, helping ambitious service-based business owners find and own the words to stand out, be heard, and make your message roar. And we're talking about Facebook Lives this month because it's such a great way to get your message out there and really make it roar. Hey, Janet. Hey, Helen. I'm so glad you are here with me live today. Thank you so much for watching. So like I mentioned, I want to talk about all the things to do after you're done going live. And I see a lot of people really missing opportunities here to continue to increase engagement. We talked last week about, yes, we want to encourage people to be on our lives with us, but let's be honest, most of the view time is going to come in the replay. And so I gave you some tips for how to make sure that you really engaged your replay watchers as well. And so that's part of what's going to happen, right? If you know that most of your activity is going to happen on the replay, let's make sure we're fully leveraging that, continuing to get engagement on your post, making that Facebook algorithm happy, which means you'll get more organic views of your videos and fully leveraging the great content that you're putting out there. Even for myself, I've been doing Facebook Lives every week for more than a year and a half. I know there's some really juicy, great content that I did a year ago, and I could resurrect and repurpose that in one of two ways. I could talk about the topic again, or I could find ways to actually use the Facebook Live that I already did, right? And we're going to talk about some ideas today. I'm going to share with you some tips and suggestions. So you're on your Facebook Live, you hit that end button, right? You either tap it, press it, finish, whatever it's called, depending on what tool you're using. And we think, whew, okay, where's that? Actually, it just starts like a whole new slew of work. Now, I'm working on a checklist that I'm going to share with you, my exact checklist, everything I do before, during, and after my own Facebook Lives so that you can, it's everything I've been talking about and then some over these last few weeks. So we're working on that checklist. Hope to have that available for you here maybe by the end of next week. So if that sounds like something you're interested in, and if you haven't let me know before that you would like a copy, make sure you drop in the comments below that that's something that you think would be interesting. And I'll make sure that I let you know when that's available. So I'm sharing my exact checklist and some of my best tips that we've been talking about, summarizing that into an easy to consume checklist for you. But all right, you hit the finish button. Now, if you're using Ecamm Live, which I'm using, and I've talked about that, I did a behind the scenes video inside my group, The Messaging Den, giving you a demo of Ecamm Live. So you can go check that out. Let me know if you can't find it and I'll tag you on the video. But if you're using Ecamm Live, when you hit the finish button, it does give you an option. I'm kind of jumping ahead in my notes a little bit, but it gives me an option to go ahead and push it straight to YouTube. And I have it set to push to YouTube, but as private, and I'm going to talk to you about what I do with my video after. But if I just like logically think through everything that I do, once I hit finish, that's the first thing I do is I let it go ahead and push the video automatically to YouTube for me. There's also other tools that you can use. There's, I think it's called repurpose.io is a tool that can help take your Facebook Live, repurpose it to YouTube and podcasts and all these things. And I don't use that tool, but it's something to think about. So we're going to, I'm going to break down for you all the things that you can do with the actual video itself. Okay. All right. Helen, Janet, both interested in the checklist. Okay, good. I will definitely make sure you know when that is available and get that in your hands. Okay. So I push the video to YouTube and then I turn right back into Facebook and I go to the post. So working in Ecamm Live, you're not actually in Facebook, but you go to your video in Facebook and I immediately change two things about the video. How many of you, when you see, if you've done a Facebook Live, Facebook picks the very worst possible screenshot of you from your whole video as the thumbnail? I need to start collecting some of these. I look like a seriously insane person. I must make the weirdest faces while I talk. And Facebook always picks the worst one. So the very first thing I do is change the thumbnail image. And at the same time I'm doing that, I update the description of the video. So if you notice in this Facebook Live right now, in the description, because I scheduled it in advance, I was promoting it in advance. So it says, join me on Tuesday at 11 a.m. Eastern, 8 a.m. Pacific to learn, blah, 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 right? Well, once the Facebook Live's over, I no longer need to encourage you to join me live. Now I want you to watch the replay. So I just update the description and I change the join me on Tuesday at 11 a.m. to watch this video to learn. Right? So now I can encourage my replay watchers. They still know what they're going to learn. And if I need to add any links in the description that I talked about in the video that I said, oh, I'll update the description after, I go ahead and make all of those updates right away. Now, if you don't know how to change the thumbnail on the Facebook Live, and by the way, it's not obvious when you are, well, it used to be more obvious even on your own videos, but especially if you're going live, like in someone else's group, it's definitely not obvious how to do that. I actually have a whole video in the messaging den to showing you exactly. I demoed how to change the thumbnail. So let me know if you need help finding that, because if you if you look in some groups and you see people's thumbnail, most people aren't doing that. And so it's a minor thing, but it's about helping your video be relatable and approachable, right? You want people to connect with you. So I like to choose a better thumbnail than usually what Facebook gives me. You can't choose just any frame. They do give you a pre-selected, but there's usually one in there that's pretty good. So if you need help finding that video, it's in the messaging den. If you can't find it, let me know. I'll tag you on that video. You can search for thumbnail, I think. And search for the word hack, because I think I say it's a hack. Anyway, if you can't find it, let me know. So the first two things I do is I update the description and I pick the thumbnail so that at least I look a little less crazy when people stumble across my video. The next thing I do, and this takes some time, especially if you've got a lot of people who are on live with you, I acknowledge and respond to every single comment. Even for those people who are on with me live. I do it for two reasons. One, I always thank people for joining me live. Even once I've acknowledged you on video, I thank you in the comments as well. And even if we've had a discussion and you've asked a question and I've answered it, I usually will recap the response, or maybe I'll even think of something I didn't think of while I was on the live video. And as I'm going back through the comments, I'll have an additional thought that I want to share with that person. So I respond to every single comment so that people really know I truly do value the interaction and the conversation that we have together on the video. It's not just about me talking at you. I really want to have a conversation with you. So I will like or heart every comment. I will respond to them all. And one of the things to keep in mind is, now, I might not respond to every single one where there might be like a batch of comments from somebody and they're saying like, yes, I agree. And then here's an example. And I'll respond to one of them in that batch of comments. But I want to acknowledge that for every person who took the time to leave me a comment, to engage with me, to interact with me, I'm very thankful for them, right? So I want to acknowledge that and thank people for that. The other thing to think about when you're leaving these comments is have it be more than 1 to 2 words, because it's about building relationship with people. right? It's having a conversation that will get the people to come back and then continue to engage with you on the video. And this makes the Facebook algorithm super happy. They see interaction and engagement on your video. Every time you reply and the person comes back and replies again, these all count as engagement. This all counts and helps the algorithm say, this is a valuable piece of content. Maybe we should show it to more people, i.e., maybe you should get more organic reach to the people who like your page, right? Janet says, that's one of the things that I like about your lives. Thank you, Janet. I'm so glad you appreciate that too. I love it when I leave comments on a video and the person acknowledges me, right? This, by the way, on all your replay watchers who comment, come back and acknowledge every single one for the exact same reason. You want them to know that you really value that they took the time to watch the replay, share their thoughts and comments, and see if you can create a conversation in the comments. That's the whole point, right? We're doing live video and putting this kind of content out there isn't about, I'm going to tell you something. It's about starting a conversation, building a relationship. This helps you make your message roar. This helps you be relatable. This is actionable content and helps you be seen as a reliable, trusting expert. And people buy from people they know, like, and trust, right? So make sure that you come back and respond to every single comment, your live watchers and all your replay watchers. Now, by default, you will get a notification in Facebook for all of the comments that are on your video. So just watch for that. And if your notifications get a little overwhelming, then I would come back to your video on Facebook Live Day, so on Tuesdays, I come back to the video minimum of 2 to 3 times that day, and I look for the newest comments. You can filter your comments to see the newest and make sure that I've addressed all of them. And then I do that over the subsequent couple days where people might be coming back and watching the replay as well. So don't miss those opportunities to build the relationship and make that Facebook algorithm happy. We want Facebook to see that the content that we're putting out there is valuable to our audience and that people come back week after week to see our content. That's partly what the algorithm is looking at, okay? Just to know that it's truly valuable content that they want to get more people to see. So I respond to every comment. Oh, here's a third bonus reason for doing that. Hang on, I'll take a sip of tea. The third bonus reason for responding to every single comment, it's not just about the person who left you the comment, and it's not just about the algorithm. It's about every person who sees those comments. So not everyone's going to comment on your video, but as they're watching the video, they're going to see the comments running in real time as they happen, and they're going to see your response. So lurkers, people who might not have a specific question, but they saw that a question was answered, they saw that you responded, you're showing up as an expert, you're continuing to be relatable by creating that conversation. Other people are seeing that too. So there's really 3 huge benefits for responding to every comment on your video. Hey, Jill. Jill says, fun to catch you alive. And she meant live, not alive. Yes, I'm glad I'm both alive and that you're here live. Thanks so much for watching, Jill. Okay, so those are 3 reasons for responding to every single comment. Now, after I'm done doing that, so like as soon as I'm done live, sometimes you have to let the video process, so it might take a few minutes, but I come back usually within an hour. I've responded to every comment, right? The next thing I do is I start to look at how to repurpose that content. So I told you at the beginning, the very first thing I do when I stop the lives when I'm using Ecamm is it gives me an option to push that video directly to my YouTube channel. And so now I'm done with the comments. It's probably done processing on YouTube, because if you use YouTube at all, when you upload a video, it takes time to upload it. Then it has to process it, does some compression of the video to optimize playback, right? And now it's ready for me to go in and do any editing that I want to do on YouTube. So I have it pushed from Ecamm Live directly to YouTube in a private setting. So it's not actually visible to anybody on my who's watching my channel until I go in and touch it. And I add the description for the video. I upload a custom thumbnail. So I can choose any thumbnail I want in YouTube. And you can do it in Facebook too if you're uploading a custom thumbnail. I don't do that on Facebook Live because I really want to encourage, like, it's a live video. This is me. Maybe it's not the best screenshot of me, but it's the best one of the bunch, right? But on YouTube, my graphic designer creates me a custom thumbnail for every video so that they've branded cover image, thumbnail cover, right? So I upload the cover image, I do the description, I add tags, and then I publish it to go live, or, publish to my channel. Now you can take that even further though. Where else do you show up? You could have YouTube automatically post to Twitter, for example. And I do that sometimes. I let the new video announcement go to my Twitter feed. You could share it in a blog post. You could send it to your email list. You could decide, do you want to email them in advance or let them know when the replay is available, or both? Give them the option, whatever you want to do. I'm looking at my notes to make sure I don't miss anything. Oh, you can boost it or do ads to get more watchers. Now I do that as part of my longer term ad strategy to get more watchers who can discover my videos so that later I could target them with ads to give them even more content, right? I can see what content people are interested in and then target ads to help give you more of the same, right? So you might do ads. Let's see what else. Oh, share the video to places, share it from Facebook to other places in Facebook where it's allowed. So if you have your own group, make sure you've shared it into your group if you didn't share it in advance. If you are a member of other groups that allow you to share your content and you think it's content that would be valuable, share it there too. So don't share everything if you don't think everything's great, and that's okay, so that when you do share your live videos places, people pay attention, right? The other thing that you can do with your videos is to take snippets of the Facebook Live. So maybe you talked about 3 or 4 things, but you want to slice those up and have 3 or 4 1-minute videos that you can use on Instagram, or put that on Twitter or LinkedIn or wherever you want to promote that content. It can be standalone by itself, right? Or it could be a teaser of your topic that drives people back to watch the full video right here on Facebook Live. So you keep getting people to come back to your Facebook Live. They keep watching it. They keep engaging with it. The algorithm gets happier and happier. So these are all things that you can do to keep getting value out of your Facebook Lives. I'm going to tell you right now, the cheat sheet that we're working on, that I'm giving you guys my entire checklist that I use every week for the Facebook Lives. It's going to have embedded links in there when I talk about, here's the things to do before your live. And by the way, I did a Facebook Live where I talked about that. Here's the things on the live. And by the way, I did a Facebook Live and talked about that. And so embedded in the PDF is going to have links for people who can come and watch the Facebook Live to get even more information on the topics that I'm summarizing in the cheat sheet. So what can you do to repurpose your content? You spend a lot of time, even if you just jumped online for 5 to 10 minutes, you had to think about the topic, probably outline some bullet points, schedule the live, do the live, interact with comments. You've invested quite a bit of time in that piece of content. It's a very easy type of content to get your message out there, but there's a lot of work that goes into that, even if you're not fully maximizing it. But why not fully maximize that and reuse it and let it get more people to learn about you and what it might be like to work with you, right? So all the different ways that you could repurpose content. You could take one Facebook Live, and last month, Linda Eno did a whole training on how to turn like one piece of content into 30 or 50 or more. In her group over the last couple weeks, she's been sharing how she's planning 400 pieces of content for Q4. And she's magic at how she like multiplies any piece of content that she does. You could do the same thing with one Facebook Live. You could multiply this into tons of content. Oh, not just video clips, but maybe there's parts of that you could turn into a written post content, right? So I could, for example, take all the content that we're doing this month talking about Facebook Lives. I'm creating this cheat sheet. So I want people to know that this is valuable content and why they might want the cheat sheet. So I want to encourage them to watch Facebook Lives, or maybe I want to share 1 or 2 tips in a written post and say, by the way, I have all my tips in this free cheat sheet you can go grab. So the cheat sheet then drives them back to the Facebook Live. So you can create these circular references in all of your content to repurpose that in so many ways and reinforce your message over and over and over again in many, many different ways. We, as content creators, worry about talking about the same thing all the time. How many of you? How many of you worry about, I just talk about the same thing and people are going to get bored hearing the same thing? I hear this all the time from people. Let me know if that's you too. But here's the thing. Not everybody sees all our content. As much as we would like everyone to see all our content, they just don't. And even if they do, they're not going to remember it. We all are the way our brains work. You need to hear the same thing over and over and over again. And your message needs to be repeated over and over and over again. Now, the sharper and clearer and more impactful that your message is, the more it roars, the fewer times people will need to hear it for them to really remember you. But even so, they need to hear your message all the time, regularly, to be reminded that you're the person that has the expertise so that when they're ready, they're going to come and work with you, right? So don't be afraid of taking that same piece of content and blowing it up all over the place, using it over and over again. Let people stumble across you on Instagram, on Twitter, multiple times on Facebook, in groups, in your own profiles, and let that be the same content sort of cycled. Because every time they see it, they're just going to be reminded that you're the person that they need to seek, right? As long as your message is telling them that. All right. So that's all I wanted to share with you today. It's actually quite a lot. I probably spend the most amount of time in this after stage of Facebook Lives. All the work we do to plan, prepare, promote in advance is probably the second most. So after is the most amount of work. All the work before is second. The actual Facebook Live is generally the shortest duration of effort. But it's because we plan so well, and it's because we're able to repurpose and drive people do it, that even a short 15 or 20 minute video, and you guys know oftentimes I talk longer than that, but even a 15 or 20 minute video can reap benefits time and time again. Okay, so let me know if you have any questions about what to do with your video after, and I'll stick around for just a minute here to watch comments. And if you're watching the replay, drop those questions in and I will come back and answer every single one. And while you're thinking about that, I want to let you know, I really believe that Facebook Live is such a great way to share your message. And I know I'm sharing a lot of what I do in my own process with you guys this month. But I want you to also hear from another expert who's killing it using Facebook Live. And so this week's guest expert in the Messaging Den is Ed Troxel. And he does Facebook Live every day, crushing it using Facebook Live as a main marketing source in his business. And he's going to be coming in and talking to us to share how he's using Facebook Live to really stand out in the market. And I'm so excited that he's agreed to come and do that. So if you would like to also hear from Ed, highly encourage you. I can't wait for this session. Then pop on into the Messaging Den. Just go to themessagingden.com or search for the Messaging Den right here on Facebook and request to join. Make sure you do that before Thursday so you don't miss it. Come and join us live. Obviously, you can catch the replay if you can't make it. But I'm super excited for his expertise, and I've got some questions myself that I'm going to be asking him. So pop in and join us and bring all your questions. Next week, I'm going to wrap up our theme month with Facebook Lives doing a Q&A. So there have been some great questions asked inside my group and even in the videos over these last few weeks that weren't the topics that I was talking about each week, but I've saved them all up and we're going to dive into some really juicy, great questions next Tuesday at 11 a.m. right here on my business page. So if you have a question and want to share it with me in advance, awesome. You want to join me live and ask me in real time? That's great too. But if you've got any additional questions about Facebook Live that haven't been answered yet in terms preparing before the video, doing live after the video, or anything in between, let me know and then join me back here next Tuesday. Hey, Rebby, so great to see you. Thank you for joining me live. Rebby asks, how do you streamline the repurposing afterwards? It feels overwhelming to me. Do you have a system? Great question. And I'll be totally honest with you, Rebby. My checklist that I use has a lot more things on it than I sometimes get to every week. It's the things I want to do, and I'm working on trying to streamline that process even further. But the checklist that I'm working on will break down for you all of the things that we currently do or are working towards doing. And you're right. And I shared with you, like, that's where the most time-consuming process is, right? So one of the ways to streamline that is to have your team do it for you. So if you have a VA that can take it and you have a process that you follow consistently and they can run with it, then that alleviates that from your to-do list, right? A second thing, and I mentioned it at the top of the video, I haven't personally used it, but I've heard some good feedback for people who are using it. And it's a tool called repurpose.io. I think that's the right URL. And it can help you repurpose your content. It can take your Facebook Live, push it to YouTube, push it to a podcast, depending on what you want to do with it. It is a time-consuming process to really get the most out of it. So it's going to be you, or ideally your team who's doing that for you. So if you have a video editor who can take your video and pull out the snippets and pieces, my graphic designer creates all the images for anything that I want to pull out as a standalone post. My VA, in full transparency, I'm currently doing a lot of the post video steps right now because I'm sort of fine tuning what I like, where I think I want things to go. But in doing that, I'm standardizing the process so that I can turn that right over to my VA team. But I've got things on my checklist right now that I'm not yet doing, and I'm trying to decide, is it worth the effort? But once we get that nailed, my VA team will take over all of that. Like the video, because Ecamm pushes it to YouTube for me, I could just say, okay, go do all those post live steps, which again, I'm putting together a checklist and a cheat sheet for you guys of all of the steps that we do in my process, so that if that's helpful for you, to create your own checklist. But I definitely recommend that. Don't try and remember all the things. I do the same things every single week, and I don't even pretend to try and remember what all the steps are. I follow my checklist every single week. So I hope that helps. Oh, Rebby. Yeah, Rebby says looking forward to that. I'm glad you're looking forward to that. Yeah, we're working on it. Hopefully we'll have that finalized here in the next week and a half or so, and I will come back and let you guys know when that checklist is available so that you can grab yours. It's almost ready. I also wanted to make sure that I have it drafted, but as things were coming up on the Facebook Lives this month and there have been really great questions, I wanted to make sure to incorporate some of that into the checklist too, so that I wasn't missing anything in the freebie. You're so welcome, Rebby. Rebby says, you are the best. Well, thank you. I'm so glad this is valuable and helpful for you guys. I'm already starting to plan all the topics for September. I'm going to deviate and probably pull back for September on the theme month because there have been some really juicy topics and questions coming up that I've been collecting that I just want to tackle on my weekly Facebook Lives, and they don't all fit within a specific theme. So for at least the month of September, I'm going to get focused on some very specific things, not specifically related. So if you want to know what the topics are each week so that you don't miss them, don't forget, you can sign up to get notified directly in Facebook Messenger. Just go to karieprice.com/notify me. Oh, let me turn off this one. There we go. karieprice.com/notify me and sign up. And I send out every Tuesday about an hour before I go live. I let you know what the topic is so you can decide if you want to join me live or catch the replay. So make sure you sign up for that, especially as we move into September and it's not a theme focus, although I promise they are all very juicy. All right, that's it for this week. I will see you back here next week, next Tuesday at 11 a.m. Eastern for the Facebook Live Q&A. Don't forget to join us in the messaging den for this Thursday's guest expert session with Ed Troxell as he shares his experience on how to use Facebook Live to make your business stand out online. And in the meantime, don't settle for sounding like anybody else. Make sure you stand out, you get heard. Make your message roar. Have a great day, everybody. Bye.